Forum sponsored by the Greater Wildwood Chamber of Commerce in association with Coastal Broadcasting. I'm Mary Conley, President of the League of Women Voters of Cape May County, and I would like to tell you about the League and our part in tonight's forum, but first we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Thank you, and I'm going to do a little commercial for the League of Women Voters and to tell you why we're here, what we do, and if you want to talk to me later, you can join us, men and women. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization, encourages informed and active participation in government. We work to increase understanding of major public policy issue, and we influence public policy through education and advocacy. Elections and voting are a core concern for the League. Year in and year out, the Leagues are committed to providing fact-based information about issues and the positions candidates take on those issues to help voters make their own decision and participate in the electoral process. The League of Women Voters never supports or opposes candidates for office or political parties. Any use of the League name or of footage from the debate in campaign materials, literature, or advertising of any kind, including internet, cable, or TV, has not been authorized by the League of Women Voters. As a courtesy to the candidates, please turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices, and please refrain from taking photographs during the debate. I saw that. Providing moderators and timekeepers for forums like this one is an important part of the League's missions and goals to empower citizens to shape better communities. League membership is open to all adult citizens, male and female, who share the organization's values and purposes. League policy is that the moderator must not be eligible to vote in the election being moderated and therefore should have no personal interest in the outcome. I'm eligible to moderate here. Now, I'll give you I'm going to tell you how this forum will be conducted. And already told you to turn off your phones, which I did not turn mine off yet, but we'll do that. And please hold your applause until the end, because we're on a tight time schedule here. There will not be any opening remarks by the candidates, but biographical information is available. The candidates will be making closing remarks at the end of the forum. The order of the closing remarks has already been determined by a random draw prior to the beginning. The format will be a question and answer session. I will pose a question to each group of candidates, and each will be given 90 seconds to respond. The order of responses to the questions will be rotated in a random manner. Each group will have one candidate from each team running for office. There will not be any opportunities for rebuttal. A timekeeper will flash a 30-second warning with a yellow card and use a red card when time is done. Candidates may finish their sentence, and our timekeeper tonight is Diane Young, another member of the League of Women Voters. The questions have been prepared by members of the sponsoring organization and have been taken from the public as submitted by mail, email, fax, or the website of either the Greater Wildwood Chamber of Commerce or Coastal Broadcasting. Coastal Broadcasting is streaming this candidate forum live on 98.7. And that's it. We're ready to start. So, the first question will go to Dara Baltasconis. I'm trying to say that properly. She gets question number 1, and Eric Delinsky will also speak to that question, as well as Ernest Triano. Question number 1, pick one campaign idea that you or your team has suggested to improve Wildwood and explain.
We are live here on 98.7 The Coast. Dennis Brown with you here, and we are sending the coverage directly to the Wildwood debate about campaign ideas with Dara Baltasconis.
Encompasses solar panels Back Bay, the old city dump. It is not only a sty on the town the way that it currently looks, at least, the Solar Bay project would enhance the whole area of the Back Bay. It will also be an income generator for revenue, a revenue source, which is desperately needed in this town. You have what was in the plan were not only to alleviate a source to the income, but it was also to alleviate some of the electric bills. All of the electric in the city would be tied to that solar plant. It's just another thought process along with the other ones that we have within the city. I guess, thank you.
Mr. Dolinsky?
Good evening. One idea that we think is great to bring into Wildwood would be to work closely with TIDA and to support a host hotel at the convention center, which would be phenomenal for employment opportunity, not only through the construction phase, but through the phase of having a full year-round hotel that the citizens of Wildwood could work at.
Mr. Triano?
We have multi-phases of our attack to improve the city. Number one, Pacific Avenue, revitalizing Pacific Avenue through the alleviation of flooding that's been going on. The host hotel is an idea that actually I went to the Meadowlands and got the approval, and have been working with TIDA to get this moving forward. It's a very slow process, a very annoying process, to tell you the truth. The state is not pushing it. The fact that we have inordinate amount of parking lots across the front of our boardwalk, which could turn into rateable-based hotels, parking on the beach, of which would generate enormous revenue for the city. Our Back Bay is in the process of being capped at this time. We're looking at different ideas of, be it an RV park, be it a homes, turned into building lots. So we're excited about the processes of Wildwood to bring more entertainment to Wildwood. It's we battle Atlantic City all the time. Hopefully we can get somebody that will help us to bring the type of Chesney concerts to our beach, which has been a tremendous draw. So we have a lot of multi prongs to attack the betterment of the city.
All right, thank you. We'll go to Group E now. I'll pull another question. All right, this is a really long one. This was submitted on the, I'm not sure where it was submitted, but I'll read it as it comes through. Oftentimes, my trash has not been picked up on schedule. I've also had my trash receptacles thrown in front of my driveway, making it impossible to pull in after work. Each time I called the city to complain, I was told that it wasn't their problem and to call the private company that handles the trash. Yet I don't pay this company, I pay the city via my taxes. What, if anything, would you do better to monitor the quality of the services that you subcontract to third parties? Mr. DiMarzo.
That program saved the city approximately $5 million when we went to gold, metal, trash removal. It's about accountability. You're right, you pay your money to the city, and the city should be the one that's held accountable. If there's a problem with an individual service, we pay for that service. We hold those people accountable. Our team holds those people accountable the same way you hold your elected officials accountable. So if there's a problem with gold metal or blue diamond, waste management, I believe they're about 90% of the county now. So the trend that we started with blue diamond has escalated and been copied throughout the county. It's a tremendous tax savings. It was a phenomenal reason for us to consolidate and privatize. Apparently, it's still a great idea because it survived my administration. But you hold people accountable. That's what you do. If you have a problem, you call the commissioner, the commissioner should reach out to one of the supervisors. The supervisor should rectify the problem.
Mr. Leonetti?
You have to excuse my voice tonight. I don't know if subbing out the trash is such a great idea. We inherited that situation, and we do not have the opportunity to try it ourselves again because we don't have any trucks. But we have been talking about putting a group on the streets, senior citizens, if they need their trash picked up, they need their cans taken out, whatever the case may be, that we would actually have a list of people who we would go by their house in the morning, pull their cans out, go back to their house in the evening, and put them back in. I personally think that it could be handled. I do follow the subcontractor, and I don't believe that he has enough of personnel to handle the trash properly. But again, we inherited that situation, and I think that we're looking at other avenues to change that.
Ms. Mercado? You get to speak to that issue, too.
Sorry. There we go. I believe the program, it's been saving thousands of dollars for the city, and as my friend in here said, if we have an issue, we have a problem, I believe that they should come to the commissioners to fix it out, to check what's going on. If the city have a problem, it's not right and it's not nice if you just keep it and keep talking around. It's better if we confront and fix it for the best of the residents in town.
Thank you. We're going to go to Group C now. I'll pull a different question. What is the best way to address many of the vacant buildings that currently sit in the city of Wildwood? Mr. Byron?
I think we're already addressing that. We have people out on the street that are actually visiting these properties. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. We already have people out on the street that are absolutely addressing these problems. We have people that are code enforcement that are forcing these folks to fix these properties up, whether it be the exterior, the sidewalks, etc. So we realize that this is an eyesore to the community, and I think we've been very proactive with addressing the situation. Thank you.
Mr. Harshaw?
I think what the current administration is doing is very good. We should be attacking these people who have these abandoned houses, these eyesore properties. Make them clean it up. If they don't clean it up, let's haul them into court and fine them.
Mr. Sloan?
I guess I heard that question a little differently than the other two. When I think about vacant properties, especially on Pacific Avenue, I want to talk about aggressive business recruitment, taking every one of those properties, every single one of those properties, and going out and trying to find the proper, whether it be corporate user or whatever you have to do, but to take the Pacific Avenue properties one by one and find the right person, whether it be the commissioners themselves or whether we have somebody helping us do it, to get every one of those properties filled one by one to bring Pacific Avenue especially back, but also the whole town. Block by block, we have to do this. It's been a long, long time that we've been seeing stagnation in the city of Wildwood in terms of economic development. We need to turn it around and get moving again. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to come up to question number 4 in a minute, but please keep in mind you're not to take pictures or video the contents of this show tonight unless you've been given permission in advance by all of the candidates. So please don't. All right, We're now back to Group A. The question is, the population in many Cape May County communities continues to dwindle according to census data. What can Wildwood do to try to negate this issue and attract new residents within the city? We're going to start with Eric Delinsky.
I'm sorry.
I'll read it again. Sure.
Sorry
It's
about
a
that.
long question. The population in many Cape May County communities continues to dwindle according to census data. What can Wildwood do to try to negate this issue and attract new residents within the city?
Well, the issue with that is the current property loss that's occurring on the island. I mean, the property loss has been 35% in less than 4 years of property loss. So we need to rectify that, and by how we rectify that is by bringing in businesses and boosting economy, and that's the way it's going to happen. Well, you know. So.
Mr. Triano?
In order to have people living in a community, you have to have jobs. And without jobs, people become just null and void. The fact that we are pushing for the host hotel, pushing for hotels that will come in and open for year-round occupancy so that the convention center can open for midweek conventions. Once we have that kind of an economy moving, we are then allowed to have people come into the community, have a job, have the opportunity to make money. Because right now, there's not a lot of opportunity. The convention center is great for the weekends, but it doesn't necessarily work for us during the weekdays. We also have a tax abatement program in effect that allows them up, and we encourage them. We are very, very aggressive on dilapidated buildings. I can honestly tell you, I have a lot of people who are not happy with me or my inspectors because of the attacks that we do. But the fact is to create a population, you need to create jobs. And to create jobs, you need to create business. We are always trying to improve business. We have a number of developers that are reaching out to us, and we expect to speak to them right after the election. Thank you.
Ms. Baltasconis?
I agree with my two friends here. Yes, we need to build an economy. If without an economy, you don't have jobs. Without jobs, you don't have the ability for people to live in this neighborhood. And it has to start with the government, and the government has to be friendly to the economy. The government has to be friendly to the businesses and to the residences. It's a cooperation between everybody, but it starts with the economy, then the jobs, and then the people will come and afford to live here. Thank you.
All right, we're up to question. What specific experience do you have that qualifies you to run a complex, troubled $26.7 million business with very little room to cut cost? And we will start with Mr. Leonetti.
My prior job before this one was I traveled around the country, actually out of the country, on what we call big turnarounds for your major refineries and major power plants. I've had crews as big as 200 men, literally overnight. We'd get a phone call and we'd have to fly out to the site and organize this job and run these big projects. I was project manager, and that went from a little one-day job to a 8-9 week job that I'd actually be out of town, and you actually created your own little company. You almost created a little city. You had these men, you were their father, you were their brothers, you were their wives, and you just, you had to organize this job for these multi-million-dollar companies, and they didn't want to hear, not today or not tomorrow. It just had to be done.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mercado?
I don't have a business, but I've been an administrator as a pastor, my church, for 9 years. And I believe as an honest person and a good administrative in this position will willing to me for running and to administrate the money.
Mr. DiMarzo?
Education, credibility, only team that had the confidence of $100 billion company, Back Bay project, that they can call a keystone operation. I'm the only candidate with an MPA. It's a Master's in Public Administration and Policy. I also own a company. It's a multi-state aircraft company that leases aircraft in the state of New Jersey and in Florida. Track records, tax cuts, building businesses. That's what the city needs. Not right after the election. We're going to do it. It's now. It's bringing back the $100 billion company to invest in the city, to create jobs, to create energy, and to create an economy. That's what the experience, the credibility, and the education brings.
Okay, we're up to question 6, and we'll go to Group C. Many businesses depend on tourists and visitors for their livelihoods. Wildwood has many great things to offer, and the season has changed from the traditional 10 weeks to 6 months. This is due to the many special events that happen here during the shoulder season. What is your stance on the city spending money or offering in-kind services to help organizations carry out these events? And we'll start with Mr. Harshaw.
That's a given. The city should be helping anyone who is trying to put forth an effort to bring events that are going to fall in on our shoulder seasons. The Chesney concert was just an example of what we can do. And I look to Atlantic City with the 2 concerts they had this year, and we could do something like that. That would be excellent. And so my feeling is that, yes, the city should be employing everything they have to help anyone who is willing to come in and put on an event such as a concert or whatever, that's going to help the city.
Mr. Sloan?
The beauty of the situation in regard to this issue, this microphone is not working. So, you got it? You can hear it? Okay, sorry. In regard to this situation, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There is already, within the mercantile license structure of the city of Wildwood, a fee which goes to the Tourism Development Commission. That Tourism Development Commission can be used, those funds can be used for just this type of thing. One of the things that we propose is, in particular to our downtown, Pacific Avenue has always had a very strong, until recent years, a very strong entertainment district. We have none now, basically. North Wildwood does, we don't. We need to change that. We need to take some of those funds from that Tourism Development Commission and use it as an incubator project to start bringing new, fresh, young acts and entertainment into our downtown. We have the opportunity at some of those locations down there, the vacant lot, which at one point was the subject of the ice rink discussion. We have the option of working with county government to put an amphitheater there, which we can then use to bring acts, to bring new entertainment in, to create a community center where people can come and have a good time in the center of Wildwood again. Pacific Avenue right now is not what it needs to be, and we can turn it around, and we will. Thank you.
Mr. Byron?
I couldn't agree more with what Dwayne just said. Unfortunately, what he just said is something that we brought to the table 2 years ago. If we would have had the support of the county, we would have had that amphitheater on Pacific Avenue. We would have had something that would have been revitalized that downtown. We're not going to give up on that, okay? That's a very strong passion of ours. We've already been doing a whole lot these past couple of years to bring new businesses and to help generate income for the business already here. The Siciliano has on his budget for the full year. We brought in millions of dollars worth of free advertisement as a result of that. We took day trippers and turned them into multi-day trippers. What does that mean? Well, you know, basic economics is direct and indirect. Direct is the money in your pocket. The indirect are the people who benefit for something that we took the lead on, okay? By people coming down here and visiting our beach, all the activities that we've generated, that's going to spur over. People are going to spend more time in the motels, which is going to generate more income. They're going to go to visit the rest ahead of this with regards to bringing people and generating more opportunities for the business in this town.
Thank you. Tonight's debate is also being heard on 98.7 The Coast and is
Bring business to the community, also bring housing. The fact that we're going around and demolishing properties to open up lots that would be more convenient for someone to buy a lot as opposed to buying the property and then having to tear the property down. It's a shame. It's a redundant question, but the fact that the Back Bay, turning the Back Bay into a rateable as opposed to a solar farm, of which we actually spoke to that group, and it was not something that would be beneficial in the long run. It was only money coming back to the city and not the residents. The residents were not going to be supported through this. That's why we turned a blind eye to that at this point. But to be able to take 26 acres and turn it into buildable housing units, that's a heck of a lot more in ratables. And the bottom line is, when you want to support your taxes, you need to create ratables. Ratables are what make taxes go down. Thank you.
Ms. Baltasconis.
I think that one of Wildwood's largest problems is our tax rate. It's very difficult for people to want to come and invest in our town when if you go 13 blocks one way or 13 blocks the other way into the neighboring communities, your tax rate is half of what it is here in town. And until that is under control, and we can actually compete with our neighboring towns, it's going to be very difficult to get investors to come here and want to invest their finances here. I think that one of our other issues is to make this town more friendly to other people coming into the town. As it is now, we kill people with licenses fees and mercantile licenses and Guatita fees and bid and SID fees. It becomes to a point where you're overtaxing people to the point they don't want to be here. I think all of that needs to be taken under control first, and then that would invite the investors here. Thank you.
Mr. Dolinsky.
Thank you. I agree with both Mayor Triano and Dara on this issue, but one thing we do have to bring up that I think is deterring people coming in here is the drug issue, something we haven't discussed yet. We need to get this under control. And one way to get this drug issue under control is to make sure that we're utilizing Pacific Avenue and turning it into a family, like a family trade. Make sure that we have this investment. We're getting rid of the vacant buildings and bringing in these business investors. Vacant buildings attract nothing but a criminal aspect, and that's one thing I think that we really need to take care of first.
All right, thank you. We're going to go to question 8 and Group B. The Wildwood Convention Center provides one of the best chances to have visitors come into Wildwood year-round. What can be done to better support that facility to try to draw visitors in the off months? And we'll start with Ms. Mercado.
Yes. I believe that a host and on the side will be a great idea to bring people to town and to bring more conventions during in winter from October to May.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. DiMarzo?
We already pay Guatita. We pay them through our mercantile license. If their plan is not to grow their own business, then I think they have to question themselves. For 16 years, it's been 25 stories. That's what it's been. When's the host motel coming? I'm waiting. 16 stories, 7 stories, 5 stories. We're putting it in the parking lot. We're moving it to the left. We're going to put it in the back. We're going to put it in the right. When? After the election again? We have investors coming? After the election again? 4, 8, 12, 16 years. Guatita is a authority paid by the state. If their mission statement is not creating the environment, then we have to question Guatita why. If they're not doing something that's specifically beneficially enhancing the city and their mission statement, then we have to ask why and push them to do it. You're already paying them. Let's not pay them 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
Mr. Leonetti?
I think this administration supports Guatita 100%. The host hotel would be a big asset to the city. In the last few days, there was a meeting set up with Guatita. They have received a $50,000 loan from the state to pursue the host hotel. And I believe that meeting will take place next week. It's a little more complicated than just building a hotel. There was two research companies that came in, 2 completely independent companies, and did some research on why can we or can't we build a host hotel here. We need some outside influx of money. We need some subsidy. We need, other than just one contractor or one company coming in and building a hotel, it has to be subsidized. And that would possibly be through tax abatement, private investors, and so on and so forth. But we are moving forward on that, and with this $50,000 loan, I think they can make that happen. Thank you.
All right, we'll go to the next question for Group C. The infrastructure is a continued problem with flooding mainly on Pacific Avenue and the downtown when it rains. What do you propose to do to remedy this? Is there a financial plan? And we'll start with Mr. Sloan.
In Wildwood, we have 2 different types of flooding. Tidal flooding, much more difficult to deal with, a much more difficult problem. Pacific Avenue is another story. Pacific Avenue is freshwater flooding. It is strictly a lack of the infrastructure, the storm sewer system, to be able to handle the water as it comes through. And part of that is because our stormwater outfalls, especially in the 3rd Ward, don't reach to the ocean. This has been going on for 16 years. I've been hearing about how we're going to get the stormwater outfall lines extended for 16 years. They're still not done. Every time we get a thunderstorm in the summertime, we have massive flooding on Pacific Avenue. I think that people are probably at this point tired of hearing about it's going to happen, we're going to do it, we're working on it. Let's just get it done. We're talking about extending pipes, driving pilings and extending pipes. It is not rocket science.
Mr. Sloan?
It's not, I got it. It's not building the Panama Canal. We will get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Byron?
We certainly understand that the flooding on Pacific Avenue is an issue. As Dwayne just said, it didn't just happen tonight. It's gone on for years and years and years. It all comes down to dollars. I mean, quite frankly, it's not so simple as just extending some pipes and putting some pylons in. You could be looking at about a $12 million investment. Okay, I'm not so sure that the taxpayers who on the west side who aren't necessarily being affected by what's going on Pacific Avenue would be really happy about that. Having said that, we actually have a meeting with the DEP. I believe the mayor has a meeting next week with the DEP. We know this is a concern. This is something we've been actively pursuing, and we expect to continue to pursue. If we have to do some capital bonding moving forward to alleviate this, well, then we're going to have to bite the bullet and do it as a team. But this is something that we understand is an issue, and we're certainly addressing it.
Mr. Harshaw?
Back in 2010, we had hired an engineering firm to come in and do a survey of the island or of Wildwood to handle the flooding issue. We had bonded a few dollars to get this project underway, tie some lateral lines into the existing lines. Everybody understands that we live on an island. It's going to flood. Our idea was to get the water out of here as soon as possible. So when we hit a slack tide, we start pumping and moving the water out. And that was our plan. And unfortunately, we didn't.
It's also being viewed on 98.7 The Coast and is being viewed on 987thecoast.com. All right, question number 10. We'll go back to Group A.
I don't think you can ever have enough police. And that's a huge issue because funding doesn't always permit what you actually need. And yes, there are grants out there that the city can obtain, but they're short-term grants. And at the end of the day, somebody still has to pay for it. You know, police and fire both are a very at the proper level. Knew him by his.
Agree with Dara on this situation, but I would like to piggyback on that and say we need to provide the police and fire with an environment where they're not put under stressful issues, where they're not putting their lives on the line, knocking on doors of drug addicts with guns and an agenda. So we really need to hammer that down and get it right and do the police officers a job and make it their job a little bit easier by getting businesses back to Pacific Avenue. Let's bring it back there. Get rid of the vacant buildings. It attracts the crime.
Mr. Troiano?
Oh, this is a great question. This administration has not only increased police, it bit the bullet and it put a 6.5 cent tax increase to put more police on the street when the police department was decimated to 29 officers. Our police department right now is doing neighborhood patrols. We have a bike patrol. We were up to about 39 police officers right now. I'll tell you, I will match our police department to any police department around right now. Our guys are nailing the crooks. They're nailing the drug dealers. Rumor has it, Wildwood's heroin problem's drying up. I don't think that's necessarily the truth, but that's the word out there right now. The people from offshore are wondering why people are being pushed out of Wildwood into their areas now. I'm going to tell you, I am proud of our police department. I'm proud of our fire department and the job that they do. No department anywhere along this coast does the kind of work that they do. And I give them kudos. And the fact that our police department is doing the beat patrols, Pacific Avenue's been cleaning up considerably. People know it. The businesses know it. I couldn't be more proud of the police department. The $650,000 grant we just received will not be used entirely on new police officers because, again, we do have to foot that bill after 3 years. So we are waiting for retirements and moving police around. So this was a good question. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to the next question, and then this will be given to Group B. Both NewJersey.com and the Star-Ledger published articles in August of 2015 referencing a report from the New Jersey Division of Addiction Services stating per capita residents of Wildwood rank 14th in the state of New Jersey and 3rd in Cape May County for heroin admissions to treatment. Given these stats, what would you do to address the drug problem in Wildwood? Which this sort of just follows the first question, so.
I have to agree with Mayor Triano here. It is a piggyback question. I did wear the uniform for close to 20 years with the City of Wildwood Police Department. Some of the benefits that they speak of now were painful, but they're beneficial. The police department has less of a rank structure. more cops on the street, and went to 12-hour shifts. Man, the guy must have been really a visionary who thought of that. I think that was me. But you're using it. You can laugh, but listen, it's the truth. That's what the fight was over. And it's implemented, and it's working. Chief Ragabudo and I had our differences, but I watched what he's doing, and it's impressive. But it's because it changed, and it has to continue to change. Cape Assist, they're on the social side of it. Cape Care, or they're on the medical side of it. It's a community problem that needs to be addressed. It's not one facet. It's a community problem, and it's addressed by the community.
Mr. Leonetti?
Wow, being assessed by department, I believe that the prior administration was in, they laid off police officers. We are doing everything that we can. I am giving the police department every piece of equipment they need, every asset they need. We are putting a street crimes unit on the street. We did go to 12-hour shifts, and I never got that told to me by anyone in my little ear. That was kind of my idea and the chief's. We have walking beats. We have bike patrol. We are planning, we are looking into a drug dog. We are going to continue to hire people. We do have a grant, and like Ernie said, we are not going to just go out and hire 6 new police officers. We're going to kind of wean them into the system. We know we have to make up for that money eventually, and that's by good budgeting, our zero-based budgeting that we are using now. We will absolutely continue to grow the police department 110%.
Ms. Mercado?
I agree with my friends in here, and we need to keep enforce. We need to keep paying attention to the crimes in Wildwood. We need to help in all the ways, in different ways that the commissioners can to help the town, the resident to make a better place to live. I know that the police is doing a great job. I believe that the fire department is doing a great job, but we need to enforce more. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to question 12, and we'll start, go to Group C. What is the collection rate for Wildwood compared to, and I believe that's taxes, the collection tax rate for Wildwood compared to the other municipalities on the island? How are you going to bring Wildwood more in line with our sister cities? And we'll start with Mr. Byron.
Our collection is probably 99%. We have an accelerated tax sale. If people don't pay their taxes, it goes out by the end of the year. So I would say, comparing us with the other municipalities, I'm not sure if they still have the same, they have an accelerated tax sale also, but ours is, we're almost 100%.
Mr. Harshaw?
I'm listening to the 2 gentlemen next to me, and they're saying that's right. The tax collection rate in 2009 was about 89%. So if it's up to 99% now, can't ask for much more than that.
Mr. Sloan?
Commissioner Byron is 100% right. Many towns have accelerated tax sales. Wildwood is one of them. I'm proud to say I was the one who instituted that back in 2000, 2001. I forget the year, excuse me, it's been a long time. But that has been in place ever since then. And ever since then, we have had 100%, it's not quite 100%, but close to 100% tax collection rate within the city of Wildwood. So, thank you.
All right, we'll go to question 13, and we'll go back to Group A. What is your plan to reduce taxes and unnecessary spending so as to entice homeowners and businesses to remain in Wildwood as well as attract new homeowners and businesses. And we'll start with Mr. Dolinsky.
Well, first off, we really need to eliminate and cut some of the salaries that don't benefit us, the taxpayers here in Wildwood. There's a few positions around, if elected, we'll open up the books and we're going to review and streamline the budget and cut the fat.
Mr. Troiano?
Anyway, you're going to really reduce taxes. I mean, you can sit here and you can get rid of everybody that works for you, and you can make everything real easy. We are bare bones as it is. Our workforce is really short in many areas, but we make good with it. We actually, I believe, are 30 people less than when we got into office. Bottom line, simple, plain, easy, ratables. Need to create ratables. Ratables are the ticket. Without ratables, you can do all your cutting, you can do all your you're dealing with pennies. When you deal with ratables, and that's bringing hotels, that's bringing businesses into the community. The tax incentive plan that we instituted, hopefully is going to start bringing people into this community. The problem was that Wildwood had a very bad reputation. It took a long time for that to happen. What you have to do is reverse that reputation, reverse the opinion that Wildwood is not a good community. That's a load of crap. We all know that. This town is a great community. It's a very business-friendly community, and it will increase. The businesses will increase. The amount of awards that the city's gotten in the last year or two, top beaches, top this, top that. I mean, place on the rise. Everything that you need for a community, and people see that, they understand it. Wildwood is not the Wildwood of a few years ago. It is a better community all around.
Ms. Baltasconis?
It's a good question, and it's a complex one because there's multiple aspects for it. One of them, I do agree with Mr. Troiano in regards to ratables. You need ratables. There's a lot of empty lots here that need buildings on them to be taxed accordingly. But in order to do that, you have to make this town appealing. And by doing that, you have to hold the line at what you have right now. I don't see the budget reducing at this point, but you have to be able to hold that line at where it is now and prevent future 30-cent hikes, 40-cent hikes, percent hikes, excuse me. You have to hold the line. And then once the town is financially stable, you'll get the investors to come in here that will build the ratables. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to question 14 for Group B. Wildwood has the world-famous beach and boardwalk that attracts thousands of visitors to this island every year. What is your stance on the
Would only benefit municipal problem with Andrew to move the legislation forward to change the tax structure. A roller coaster shouldn't have the same tax implications as a couch. That's basically the layman term of what's going on up there. It's East Boardwalk versus West legislation. Mayor as a couch.
And we will start with
I don't know how many people
Mr. Sloan.
Folks, that ship sailed a long time ago. Our zoning laws still reflect that. And as a result, the developers don't even want to look at us right now. We need to change our zoning before you're going to see any redevelopment within the city. That is step number one to increasing property values, and we will do that.
Mr. Byron.
I guess I'm missing something. I'm a real estate broker here in Wildwood, and I would say this past year was probably the best year I've had in about the last 3 or 4 years. And majority of my sales have been in Wildwood proper. I would say that the property values are actually starting to increase. And if you drive around town, I would say you're going to see dozens of new construction going on right now. And I will also say there's a direct correlation with the tax exemption program that we initiated last year, and now the revised positive influence that this is having with these out-of-town people who are coming in now and developing these properties. I would tell you that the majority of the feedback that we've gotten has been very positive. People are saying if it ain't broke, why mess with it? I mean, we've been doing a lot of positive things. Pacific Avenue, I had a gentleman come up to us the other day when we were out on the street and they said, you know how we know Pacific Avenue is on the way back? It's because I'm not afraid to let my wife walk alone 1 block on Pacific Avenue. And that was, I'll tell you who it was Wally Lero. I mean, nobody knows Pacific Avenue better than Wally. So I think the confidence level in the direction that this town is going is huge, and I say that the property values are definitely on the way back. Thank you.
All right. Then a little advertisement here. Tonight's debate is being heard on 98.7 The Coast, and it's being viewed on 987thecoast.com. Now we'll go to question 16. We'll go back to Group A. Them to bring in more revenue, and we'll start with Mr. Troiano.
Beach fees is a very interesting question, but in order to do beach fees, this is an island-wide discussion. This can't be all about Wildwood. I'm sure the other two would follow right in. To come to Wildwood and walk a half a mile to the water, or do I go to Ocean City, or do I go to Sea Isle and fall off the boardwalk into the water? This is an island-wide discussion. This is what we've done. We've increased our lifeguards in many areas, put more lifeguards on stands, not by worrying about beach fees, but by creating events, creating businesses on the beach. City of Wildwood generated over $300,000 worth of new revenue from beach venues that we instituted through Commissioner Byron and Commissioner Leonetti. So the beach fees is a question. I think that should be done on an island-wide basis, because I think it's important that everyone have input, because it is a major change in what the Wildwoods represent. And I would ask that
Ms. Baltus.
West in North Wildwood. And it has to be you would need 100 employees just to chase the beach tags. Thank you.
Mr. Dolinsky?
I know this is going to sound repetitive, but I agree with Mayor Triano and Dara. It's kind of a no-brainer. The issue I have with beach tags is that we're charging, what is it, quarter gets you 8 minutes to park? Is that the rate right now? 8 minutes to park. So we have people pumping in $6 to park. Now we're going to charge them another $5 for the day, $3 for the day, whatever it may be. We're losing business. They're going to go to Wildwood, or excuse me, they're going to go to Wildwood Crest. They're going to go to North Wildwood if we initiate that. But I do agree, if this is to go down, it needs to be a conversation that's had across the island with North Wildwood and Wildwood Crest municipalities, and move forward from there.
All right, we'll go to Group B. Cape Assist located in Wildwood and now wants to buy a building at another location in the city. Some feel the service should be in Rio Grande, where it can serve all of Cape May County residents. Are you in favor or against letting Cape Assist expand in Wildwood? And we're going to start with Ms. Mercado.
I'm agreed to have a Cape Assist for all the circumstances that we are having now in Wildwood and neighbors towns. For me, I believe that even in Wildwood or outside of Wildwood, as soon as they benefit the whole island and benefits the whole county, I'm agree anywhere that they decide to place it. Thank you.
Mr. DiMarzo?
When Cape Assist expanded their facility, Parshaw, Senator Van Drew, Albano, and Milan all were there at the grand opening. We've talked about the expansion of Cape Assist at that time. You know, our position, or my position is you go, if you're going to go duck hunting, you go where the ducks are. You know, if Cape Assist facility is strictly for drug intervention and those type of issues, then the facility should be placed in a more central location. The city should facilitate the ability to get to that. But Cape Assist, what we learned, is a vast organization. The Latino community and some of the more underprivileged depend on Cape Assist for health care, for child care, which even at our level are two of the biggest issues in our demographic. Take away Cape Assist, you take away child care. Take away Cape Assist, you take away some learning programs. You can't devastate that organization. I think the communication has to be with Cape Assist. It seems that they have resolved themselves to kind of look into a different area. But it is a phenomenal organization, and we supported it in our administration. Chip and I supported it, and we will continue to support that organization.
Mr. Leonetti?
This current administration does support Cape Assist, but I believe some of the facts are that only 30% of the people who use that facility are Wildwood residents, are people from Wildwood. Again, we support that association 100%, but I don't think we need people coming from Millville or Vineland or wherever the case may be to use that facility. I am 100% in supporting our people, the citizens of Wildwood, which right now is, I believe, maybe less than 30% of the people who use that facility.
Okay, we're going to go to Group C. In the past, the city administration has served as the promoter, booked, and had the city of Wildwood pay for acts like Chubby Checker, Martha Wash, the Marvelettes, Charlie Thomas and the Drifters, Sonny Turner, and Philadelphia Pops, and of free events. Do you feel that a city that is financially strapped as Wildwood is should be putting on such free events? Why or why not? Dwayne Sloan.
Again, we're going to go back to where we started the night off, and that is that there are funds within the mercantile license structure to handle just such a thing. In fact, I've probably already answered this question, but we will take some of those funds and also work with Guatita to try to bring in, those acts you're mentioning are all great, but what I would really like to do is get some new, fresh, young blood in this town so that we can get a younger generation coming to Pacific Avenue, because when those acts were popular, they were young people going to see those. We need to do that again. We can no longer rely on our past and our history. We have to create new history for Wildwood. And one of the things we really want to do is to take Pacific Avenue and turn it into an entertainment mecca. Bring some new, fresh blood into town. And yes, use some incubator money to do that. Have some outdoor venues. Don't have to be big. We can just have an outdoor stage and bring some new acts. It doesn't have to be cover bands all the time. And let's do this. Let's start the step. Let's start bringing Pacific Avenue back, and that's one way to do it. Thank you.
Mr. Byron?
Wildwood has a huge history of music. I don't think that we should ever forget the past, although I think that we still need to be looking forward also. So I agree that the groups that come here, I think it's fantastic. I think that the crowds that come here are tremendous for the overall town, the benefit of the town. I think moving forward, though, Kenny Chesney, I think, was a great thermometer for us. We can host the big bands. We can host the big groups. Not every entertainer that comes here has to be a free venue, and I think that we have some promoters that have certainly been in touch with us. Atlantic City hurts us a little bit with that with the non-compete rule, but having said that, there are some groups that are not a part of that. Maybe they're the B groups versus the A, but I think that moving forward, you're going to see on the beach, since we do have such a vast beach, and we saw that we had like 30 or 40,000 people there for Kenny Chesney, and it didn't affect services in any way. So I think moving forward, you're going to see us starting to develop a pay venue to offset some of the other venues that we have that are just for the entertainment of the visitors.
Okay, Mr. Harshaw?
I agree with both gentlemen. The oldies, as they're called, were from a different time in Wildwood. And it's always nice to go and see Chubby Checker and Martha and the Vandellas. But as both gentlemen have said, we need to bring some new, younger acts in because we're all not of the same age. So, when my kids, who are in their late 20s and early 30s, they don't want to see Chubby Checker, and they don't want to see Martha and the Vandellas. They want to see some of the newer groups. So I think we have to concentrate our efforts on utilizing our beach, which is a fantastic venue, put the money up and make sure that we get the groups that are going to draw the crowds to our city. Thank you.
All right, we'll go to another question for Group A. We've sort of done this question, so I'll save it to last in case we run out. All right. The City of Wildwood has two main business hubs, the Boardwalk and Pacific Avenue. How do you properly support both business districts and try to help both succeed in their own way? And we'll start with Ms. Baltasconis.
I think that they are both two very different areas, and the Boardwalk has a lot of excitement, a lot of noise, a lot of lights, and it's very easy for people to be drawn to that type of visual excitement and noise excitement. Pacific Ave is a quiet area. There's not much going on here, and I think that you need to bring a little bit of the Boardwalk to Pacific Avenue. I do believe stages at the end of the street, similar to what North Wildwood does in the old Anglesey area, where they're promoting their Irish weekend, or they just had the Boots weekend where they were doing the country festivals. I think that you need to bring more of a visual and a sound effect into the area that will draw people there. And once you have people there, you'll see people wanting to open up businesses and start to enjoy the people that are there that are going to sponsor the businesses. Thank you.
Mr. Dolinsky?
I'm really not even prepared to answer this question. So unfortunately,
What we have to realize is that it's just not the Boardwalk and it's just not Pacific Avenue. Back in the day, an anchor for this
As a city ordinance.
Gave a single contact for each individual property that was a problem. Public Works, Police and Fire, Inspector's Office, those type of things focused on the problems and each individual home. We didn't ask people to paint their house in January. We didn't ask people to put gutters. We didn't ask people to do their concrete. These are the kind of things that we looked internally to try to fix within the city. Those are small things, untangible things that true homeowners are bothered by. They can't afford the taxes. They can't afford to repaint their houses. And then the house next door looks like something from Fallujah with 400 of violations, and that guy nothing seems to happen. So a more circular approach, a more accountable approach, putting the responsibility back on the department heads and giving the homeowner the ability to fix the problem in a more timely manner. That's the program.
Mr. Leonetti?
Can you repeat that question?
Sure, it's a big question. While the administration seems to be tackling the rowdy house and code enforcement issues, there is still a lot that could be done. As a candidate, what would you believe is the most important way to enforce the codes and crack down on violators of the city ordinances?
Well, I think the most important way to enforce the codes is to have a
Actually, it's proven this year, policing and code enforcement. That has been lacking in the past years. We now have the police department, too, when they go to that rowdy house for the first time, they calm it down immediately. In the past, they would be back to that house 3 or 4 times just because we were lacking the manpower to make it happen. It comes down to policing. And I'm not saying nasty policing. We have underage drinking. We have kids that want to get out of hand and rowdy. When we go in a house, we pretty much ask them to please settle down. And if they don't, they know what the consequences are. And we have not put up with that this year. And instead of myself being out literally every night, I can only count a handful of evenings that I've actually had to come out of my house and meet the chief or whoever was on duty. Ernie also would be out there in front of a rowdy house.
Ms. Mercado?
I believe that we need to enforce the code. We need to check of any person who's working for the city to make those codes work, and make sure that when this happen and the person goes there in a house to check, they can even take pictures for anything that didn't pass, for the restrictions or for the problems that the houses have or around the houses outside, to make sure we have proof of that, but make sure that the codes are working and the people are not being treated as a friend. No matter what, we are residents, and residents have the same rights like anybody else. This is not a friendship. This is not a way just to avoid a code or to be charged for something. And I believe that we just need to sit, check with the head in codes management, and work with them together.
Thank you. All right, we're to Group C. Many communities have consolidated services to save costs. The city has entered into shared services agreements. Do you think there will be more in the future, and can you be specific? Mr. Byron.
That's an awesome question. We have entered into joint service contracts with North Wildwood, West Wildwood. Personally, I like to see this as one town. I like to see just have one form of government for all 4 communities. I think that if we really truly care about the taxpayers in all these communities, and hey, I'm from Philly. When we were going to Wildwood, whether you're going to Wildwood Crest or North Wildwood or whatever. People, this is one town, and I think it's about time that we actually realize that, and we need to work together as a community to join to make one police, one fire, one school, one form of commission. I think that that's the future. Whether it's going to take the governor to come down and maybe force the issue, I'm not so sure. But we've already started that on a small scale, and that small scale has equated to property. So if we could do that on a small scale, imagine what could happen if we did this as one town.
Thank you. Mr. Harshaw?
Here in New Jersey, we have in the neighborhood of 562 school districts. That is way too many. I believe that Pennsylvania has it right. Maryland has it right. School districts are run by the county. I'm not saying that we should have our school district or our joint services run by the county, but what I am saying is that we need to join with our sister communities and cut the cost of all of these services that these communities are providing. Duplication of services, it's not good. It's not good. Hopefully, we can continue with the joint services, working with the sister communities because that's the only way we're going to reduce taxes around this community.
Thank you. Mr. Sloan?
I think the majority of Wildwood residents would certainly favor consolidation, without a doubt. The problem becomes when you start asking North Wildwood and Wildwood Crest residents what their opinion is, you will get the exact opposite response. And until we get our house in order, that's never going to happen. My daughter is here tonight. She's 14 years old. She was born when I was in office the last time. We were talking about it then. In terms of it getting its act together with North Wildwood and Wildwood Crest, we can't even discuss it. We have to take care of ourselves. I would venture to say that there's people who have lived and died talking about consolidation in this town. Until Wildwood is on a par in terms of it getting its act together with North Wildwood and Wildwood Crest, we can't even discuss it. We have to take care of ourselves first. Take care of this city first. Get ourselves to the point where we can be proud. We are proud. Let me rephrase that. We are proud of who we are. We love Wildwood. But we need to get to a point where we can stand and look at our neighbors and look them in the eye and legitimately have this conversation and have it be a real conversation. We're not there right now. We got a lot of work to do to get there, but we can do it.
All right, we're going to have one more set of questions before we go to the closing remarks, but I'm going to do some more commercials, and tonight's debate is being heard on 98.7 The Coast and is being viewed on 987thecoast.com. Now, a little commercial for the League of Women Voters. We're hosting the Assembly debate Monday night at the old courthouse building. It will start at 7. And we're going to start with Ms. Baltasconis. How do you propose to revitalize the downtown? Besides entertainment, how can the city attract more businesses to the downtown to create a more year-round city? Okay, let's see what I can do here. Only have a few questions left. They're pretty much all the same now. Let's see what we can do. No. All right, here's a different one. The parks in our sister communities, North Wildwood and Wildwood Crest, are beautifully maintained and landscaped. Several years ago, most, if not all, shrubs, plants, and flowers were removed from our parks. Now our city parks look drab and neglected. If elected, would you reconstitute the better landscaping and maintenance of these city resources, which reflect heavily on the overall character and status of Wildwood? And we'll start with Ms. Baltasconis.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. A lot of what people see in town is perception, and the town has to look beautiful. It has to look clean. You need the parks well groomed. You need the bushes. You need the grass cut. It's all perception, and if the city itself looks good, then people are going to want to be here, and they're not going to think of it in a negative light. Thank you.
Mr. Dolinsky?
Well, I'm sure Mr. Byron would agree with me that in real estate, curb appeal is everything. So I'm going to say yes, absolutely. 100% beautification with these parks. But in doing that, we have to make sure that Public Works is doing their part and making sure that they're out there trimming these hedges, trimming these bushes, and making Wildwood look beautiful.
Okay.
Could we do a better job? You can always do a better job. We have put a lot of money into our parks. Our Parks Department does an excellent job with what they have. To be perfectly honest, I'm about sick and tired of hearing about North Wildwood Crest being better than us. That's a load of crap. We're just as good as they are. We are totally, entirely different communities. We are not a bedroom community. We are a city. We are an urban city. I am not a community made up of all neighborhoods. I have business districts to go through the whole entire town. I don't want to hear about North Wildwood and Wildwood Crest being so much better, because they're not. We are an island. We are an island, and the city of Wildwood is the entertainment district, and more goes through the city of Wildwood than those other communities. We'll do more in a day than you'll do in a week. But I'm going to tell you, I love my communities to the north and south of me, and I will work to the end to work with them. But I'm going to tell you right now, the city of Wildwood does a good job with what it has. With all the parks, we're going through the parks, removing trees to look, they've overgrown in some areas. Our playgrounds are used a hell of a lot more than the other communities. So you know what? Do they get beat up? Yeah. Do they need to be repaired? Yeah. Will we do it? Absolutely. Simple. It's money. It's all about money. We want to raise taxes, we can fix it. I can put anything you want. A playground is a $500,000 project. Shrubs aren't. We'll work on the shrubs, we'll work on the flowers, and pray to God nobody rips them out. 19 plants ripped out of the Pacific Avenue the first day that they were planted. 19 of them. Thank you.
Okay. This is for Group B. There are buildings on Pacific Avenue that are used for warehousing, even though the buildings are not zoned as such. This misuse contributes to a lack of resurgence in the area. If elected, what would you do, if anything, to stop the use of retail space as warehouses? Mr. DiMarzo.
First, you shouldn't take the money of the people that own half those buildings. Second, you should hold them to the code. But let's be realistic. Commerce builds infrastructure. Commercial property, capitalization, you need to grow the businesses. You need to bring in commerce. You need to bring in capitalism. Government can't do it. They can't keep spending it. If the tax abatement programs, which Chip and I had implemented, are not strong enough, you continue to do it. Government can't purchase buildings. Governments can't create businesses. Capitalists do. You need to bring in the money. We brought in a $100 billion company. And maybe billionaires swim with billionaires. Panasonic had the confidence to invest in this city. 4 years later, we're bringing in host hotels. 4 years later, we're really working on it. 4 years later, I'm getting my stride up. We need to bring in businesses, and any place in the country that does it through tax abatements and lower taxes.
Mr. Leonetti.
Unfortunately, some of our biggest business owners in this city own some of those properties. And we have been diligently working on trying to revitalize Pacific Avenue. We have some small business owners that are putting their heart and soul into making Pacific Avenue better. We'll continue that. We are working with some of the smaller business owners now to, they're fixing up properties, they're renting properties out. But until we get everyone on board to realize that there is life west of the boardwalk, that's going to be a tough road to hoe.
Ms. Mercado.
Sorry, but I'm not prepared to answer this question, but I will answer in our team page. Thank you.
All right. Group C, what is your vision for what Wildwood can look like in 10 to 20 years from now, and how do we get there? And we'll start with Mr. Byron.
I envision growing up, Wildwood was at its best when you had the complemented the downtown as well as the boardwalk. I think that moving forward, I see a vibrant downtown again with people shopping, people walking, people saying, meet me at such and such 5 and 10 to have lunch. I'm having flashbacks to the 60s and the 70s. And quite frankly, maybe it'll never be the 60s and 70s again, but I honestly believe that until we're in a process right now of, we've met with a planner. We understand that our master plan needs to be redone. We also understand that Pacific Avenue is too big. And we're looking at different options to give people incentive to build more commercial, rehab more commercial and consolidate into more residential and less commercial to make it a little bit more manageable for people to navigate. I see what we've done on the beach the last couple years, and we took a beach that never generated more than $8,500 a year. $8,500 a year. This year we're going to approach close to 270. Last year was about 225. We've got some projects that we're working on right now that I guarantee are going to come to fruition, which will more than double that. We could be looking at about $500,000 in revenue from the beach. So I think the things that we're already accomplishing on the beach, if we can carry that over to Pacific Avenue, which again is a high priority of my own, I think that Wildwood's got nothing but a bright future ahead.
Okay, Mr. Sloan?
The first thing we want to do when we take office is to have, and to remind people of the question, where do we want to see Wildwood in 5 to 10 years? The very first thing that we want to do is bring the community together into City Hall, residents and business owners, and start asking these questions so that we can develop a strategic plan. And, this plan is going to look into the future. What do we want short term? The host hotel, the business recruitment, the idea of new music downtown. But the main thing that we have to keep focus on through all this is that the community members, residents and businesses, need to be involved as we come to these conclusions. So come January, very first thing, we are going to open up the doors of City Hall, bring everybody in, all the people here tonight, everybody who cares to do it. Bring everybody in so that we can talk as commissioners to the community to find out what it is you want, not what we want as commissioners, but what do we want as a community, and then put a plan in action to start making it happen. And we will do that. Thank you.
All right, and before we get to the closing remarks, I'd like to thank the Greater Wildwood Chamber of... I forgot somebody. This happens to me at every single debate. I skip somebody, and I apologize.
That's quite all right. I'm a little bit older than Pete and Dwayne are. And I remember when Center City Wildwood was the business district for the county. Nobody went offshore. Nobody went to malls. They all came to Wildwood.
Yes, I remember that.
I would like to see that come back. I would like to see the businesses, Christmas time, I'd like to see Pacific Avenue lit up with Christmas lights, people walking, Christmas carolers caroling. I would love to see that happen again. But like Mr. Sloan said, it's not going to happen unless everybody in the community pulls together and has a vision to make this happen. So everybody has to make up their mind that this is what they want to do. And until we do that, I'm sorry it won't happen. But that's where I see it in 10 years. I'd love to see that this whole street lit up again.
And I was one of those people who came here to do school shopping and shoe shopping, and they had the best place for women's foundation garments, and always came here on Pacific Avenue. So, that was a nice way to put it. So, I'd like to thank the Greater Wildwood Chamber of Commerce in association with Coastal Broadcasting for promoting and hosting this venue tonight. And we can start with the closing statements. Everyone pulled their order before we started, and we're going to have the first person up was Mr. DiMarzo to give his closing statement.
There's a saying I like in politics, that there should be an election every 30 days so we can get politicians to do something. That seems to be the case. And 4 years ago, I sat up here and said, don't let a politician tell you there's nothing you can do. Now, 2 weeks before the election, Back Bay project, flooding is getting done. We got a lot of people coming in looking at stuff. We're really going to get this done this time. Got a guy that just gave us $50,000 yesterday. Listen, these things are going to be fantastic come the 4th. Doesn't happen. You look at results. You look at positive change. You look at the things that needed to be done. We did it. We did it. We did it because we love this community. I love this community. I have a 5-year-old. My wife is from here. I've been here since 1990, and we've done great things. And you do it by building an economy. You do it by lowering taxes. You do it by letting capitalists work the city and bring in businesses. There's nobody up here that doesn't love the city. We're all doing it for the betterment. It's the road that you choose to get there. An election is a proclamation on results from an administration. And 4 years later, they're still going to do it. Do it. Get it done. Put my pump system in. Bring Solar Bay to fruition. Make the town great.
Ms. Mercado?
Wildwood is in our heart. We love Wildwood. We have a well-developed plan in ahead of us, and I appreciate your support in November 3rd. Thank you.
Mr. Sloan?
When we look back, when I was in office, it's been quite a while now, I don't even want to say how long, we were successful in getting a lot done at that period of time. And I say we, I'm not saying myself. The convention center was built. I was involved in the negotiations at the tail end of that, which really pushed that through, and that is true. Rear Grand Avenue reconstruction happened, including the ultimate plans that led to the Wildwood sign. Pacific Avenue two-way traffic was put back into Pacific Avenue. We started the planning, and Ernie did finish this. I'm not taking credit away from my administration. We had a good economic time at that period of time, and we can do that again. We have plans, and we can push them forward. I need to say, it's clear, a new Wildwood, our team, my running mates may not be the best public speakers, but I'll tell you what, they are both good, solid people. Nancy is a good-hearted person who cares for her community and takes care of her congregation and the people in the community. Eric served for 6 years and fought for us during Iraq and Afghanistan, and he is a valiant, good, solid person as well. So although, we're not all professional speakers, they are good people, and I need your help on November 3rd. Column 3, a new Wildwood. Thank you.
Mr. Dolinsky? I thought you spoke pretty well.
Thank you. That was just a pep talk for the finale for
okay.
me.
There you go.
Listen, all the candidates on the dais tonight love Wildwood. Wildwood has history. What it means for all of us to have the honor of calling Wildwood our home. Over the past years, though, Wildwood has been steered into an economic and social doldrum. The team of Sloan, Dolinsky, and Ricardo, a new Wildwood, is here to put the wind back into Wildwood sails and deliver a Wildwood we all deserve. On November 3rd, I ask for your vote for Sloan, Dolinsky, and Ricardo, column 3, to represent you as Wildwood commissioners. Thank you.
Mr. Leonetti? No, I skipped you. Miss Baltasconis. Okay.
It happens. I have to thank everybody for coming here tonight, and I also have to thank everybody who submitted questions tonight. I think that it's very difficult to sit up here and answer to the public, but it's something that's very important that has to be done, and it's holding people accountable for their actions, for their decisions. I'm a strong believer in holding people accountable for their decisions and actions that they take in government, especially in government when you're dealing with other people's money. Our group is about a big picture. It's about moving the city forward. It's about economy. It's about infrastructure. It's about rebuilding Wildwood. We need your help. We need your help on November 3rd to come out and put us in office and let us do it. Thank you.
Now it's Mr. Leonetti's turn.
My life has absolutely changed in the last 4.5 years, and my wife can attest to that, I'm sure. I do not think there are three, I'm going to say two, and not include myself in this, men that care more about this city than Ernie and Pete. Everything we think, do, and breathe is about Wildwood. We live it. In the middle of the night, in the morning, in the afternoon, that's all you do is live Wildwood. Sometimes things take a little longer than we like, and I'm sure you like also. But I think with the three of us in office, our hearts are there, and there's no stopping what we can do. We do have some incredible plans, obviously some that weren't talked about tonight, but I believe that moving forward, that we can turn this town around. In the last 2 years, I see a major difference in the town myself. I wasn't born here, but there has been a difference in just the past 2 years. I'm going to say I had a learning curve for the first 2 years in office, but since then, myself, can't speak for Pete, I think we learned a lot. Thank you.
Mr. Troiano?
I thank everyone for coming here. I have been a team player my whole entire life. Everything I've ever done has been team-oriented. It's all about the team. And this team of Byron, Leonetti, and Triano are all about Wildwood. We have and always will put Wildwood first. The thing that we have to try to get away from is whoever is fortunate to win this election, those who did not win, do not become a smear tactic against those in office. We need to work together. The negativity that goes through this, I mean, some of these websites and some of the stuff that's going on is a disgrace. And I'll be honest with you, if I was the Crestwood North Wildwood seeing that, I wouldn't want to be part of Wildwood either. As far as, an open door policy, hell, there's no time, any time that I'm in City Hall that you can't come into my office. Our offices are always open to everybody. Nobody's ever been denied any access to City Hall. We will reach out to everyone to try to include everyone, but it is incumbent upon the residents to also reach out to us. Your ideas, which will help us create a better community. You need to re-elect this team. I've been in this government a long time. This is the first team that I can honestly say I've had the pleasure of complete cooperation without someone trying to throw nuts and bolts into the middle of it and creating a problem. Thank you.
Not done. Mr. Byron?
What we've accomplished the past 4 years has just been really astounding. And I think that if we just put some of these things out there, I think that in itself would be enough to convince people why Byron, Leonetti, and Triano need to come back. We turned a $2.1 million deficit into a $2.1 million surplus in 2015. That's never been done. We've had joint service contracts with other communities. You know, the other communities that don't want to deal with Wildwood, now they're coming to us to enter into contracts with us. We've merged offices internally. What does that mean? Well, what that means is we've been able to cross-train people so that as people retire, we don't have to fill those positions because we have other people who can do more than one position. We also have had a 25% reduction in employees over the time since we've been in office. We hired a full-time in-house solicitor at a 40% savings, 40% over a part-time watered-down solicitor that we had before. That's huge. The Back Bay. There's a $3 to $5 million budget to cap that. Not only have we capped that, but we turned that into a moneymaker. They're actually paying us to take this, and we're going to convert that into a multi-million-dollar ratables moving forward. All this takes time. We did this in a very short period of time. I believe that the commitment that we have made to public safety, along with the progressive outside-the-box way of thinking, is going to go a long way in impacting the economic growth in this town. I think it already has. The voters need to do something that has never been done before. That's to re-elect the sitting commissioners back in the office. The one true team of Byron, Leonetti, and Triano. Thank you.
One more. Mr. Harshaw.
You've heard a lot of information given out tonight. Most of it is pretty good information. And I can tell you that, yes, everyone up here loves Wildwood. If we didn't love Wildwood, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this. And I can tell you that this is a pain in the behind to run this city. You get calls in the middle of the night. We need to have this done. You have people angry with you. And as an old basketball coach, I'm reminded of the 50% rule. 50% are for you, 50% are against you. But again, we are all here, and we are asking for your vote. And hopefully on November 3rd, you will vote column 1, Harshaw, DeMarzo, and Baltasconis.
Thank you, everyone. And now you can let your applause just go crazy. Thanks.